What's up, everybody? This is Oliver and I with Big Bass Streams. Welcome back to the Big Bass Streams YouTube channel, and I'm here to share with you guys a sneak peek. This is actually episode 2 of a new series that will live only on my new YouTube platform. So if you haven't already, please go down in the description below or click on the tab here. Make sure to subscribe to my new channel, and you can watch episode 1 and all the future episodes of The Green Room coming at you on a regular basis. I'm really excited to share with you guys this new series. We're going to be going back in time, diving right into old film, and much like a lot of professional athletes will go back and watch film and learn and see the mistakes and try to fix mechanics and really dissect these special moments that I've been lucky enough to capture over the years. We're gonna jump back in time and dissect a lot of the special moments I've been able to capture over the years. And there's a lot of it. So there will be no shortage of content. There will be no shortage of episodes from The Green Room. We're gonna go way back in time, and we're gonna go through some current stuff as well. But hop in, enjoy the ride. Hopefully you guys find some insight and some value that you guys can apply to your own big bass streams. So thank you for the support. And just as a heads up, there will be a lot of new content coming to the Big Bass Streams channel, which you're watching this on now, from a host of dope creators and fishermen and even better people. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and turn your notifications on for both channels so you don't miss a single upload. We've got daily uploads coming at you here on the Big Bass Streams channel, and I will be posting a whole bunch of unique content to my own personal channel. So I, along with everybody else at Big Bass Streams, appreciates your support. Hopefully your new year and your season, depending where you are, is off to a great start in 2020. We're gonna jump back in time here to the early 2010s. And this brings us to sunny Southern California. This is a pre-spawn situation here, which we're quickly approaching. Late January now. I started getting onto a little bit of a bite this season in late January, early February. So those of you guys that are kind of waiting around and fishing for spots and info via social media, man, I think enough people have kind of learned not to burn their own bites by now, because look what I'm doing. I'm about to show you guys a giant fish caught on one of my local home lakes years after the fact. But that doesn't mean we can't go back and look at this scenario and learn something from this 20-minute video that culminates in me bouncing a 10+ pound bass. And yes, that was weight on a scale. What's the first thing you guys notice about this? Well, what you can't see is this is mid-morning, and this is a post-frontal condition. Most people that I know would probably sit out on a post-frontal day like this. And I'm fishing shallow here, and what I'm fishing in front of me is actually the top of a very big flat. Now this is a big flat that comes up from 15 feet of water, 15 to 20 feet. Top of it, where you just saw me cast, is anywhere from 5 to 10 feet of water. And then up on the bank, you'll see there is an established brush line. That's a line that's created by the old lake level. There was a point where this lake was so low that it gave a chance for the terrestrial vegetation, a lot of the brush and sticks, this, that, and a third that is now submerged here, created a really defined line just under the surface, and it was pretty much coinciding with some of the tules that you can see up on the bank there. So once in a while I encounter these big fish moving up on the flat. They were feeding on trout, which were still getting stocked in the lake at the time. It really came down to intercepting them when they were in a mood to react to whatever bait I was throwing. And if you guys notice from the deck of the boat, I've got a multitude of options. Conditions and the mood of the fish and the preference of the fish change on a minute basis, an hour basis, let alone a daily basis. So One thing that I really learned throughout this whole stretch was how much I had to be flexible. I had to go into each new day, and really every time the conditions changed, whether it was sun, clouds, time of day, water clarity, wind, gosh, whatever, I had to stay flexible mentally and not get stuck throwing one thing or another. As you see here, I'll pick a bait up, throw it around 5 to 10 casts usually, fish it a certain way. If I don't get any responses, and really during this phase, my responses were bites. I got very few followers. I honestly don't care about followers most of the time. That really just tells me that I'm a little bit off and I need to make adjustments and continue to piece the puzzle to get one of these trophy fish to commit. I've got a different option for fishing multiple parts of the water column. I've got different colorations. I've got hard baits, I've got soft baits, I've got single jointed baits. I just started implementing the glide bait into my repertoire. I've got like wedge style swim bait. I've got a couple top water options. And really, I just continue to go through the motions, guys. And if you guys notice what I did right there, I was trying to implement something that I had learned from my boy Rafael Rossi. Shout out to Big Rafi, aka New Moon Bite on Instagram. And if you guys want to watch part 1 with Rafael actually catching a 9+ pound fish on a Depths 250, click here to watch that video on my channel. But anyways, going back to that dipping the rod in the water trick, I watched Rafael do this, and he does this before every cast, and it didn't really seem to make a difference for me, so I actually kind of stopped doing it. But at the time, you know, I was trying to keep an open mind. It was working for Rafael, and I wanted to give it a try, right? Experience is always the best teacher. And if I can surmise his theory on it, it was really a way to keep all the contact points of that line hitting all the guides. It was really a way for minimizing friction and lessening the chance of a cast off or a break off from the contact points of that line hitting dry guides, the dry level line, whatever. So you probably won't be seeing too many more videos of me actually doing that, but there are times, especially when I'm picking up a new rod, it does make sense to actually dip the rod and wet that line. Because if you guys have ever tried to make a cast with a dry spool, especially with fluorocarbon, on a hot day, you've probably burned your thumbs like I have. So that could be a quick little trick that you can employ to keep from burning your fingers. And here I am. You guys saw me fishing shallow. I'm pretty much sitting on the edge here, and now I'm fishing out deep. And I start towards the top of the water column. I work my way down. I'm making fan casts as I go. Let's see what I do here. So I'm making a nice long cast, and it does look like I'm starting to count down the bait a little bit. Now that's all part of me eliminating variables, going through the motions and going through my process of elimination. So after a short countdown, I'm fishing that triple trout up high in the column and targeting fish that may be either suspended up high in the column or looking up at trout swimming suspended through that column. There's a lot going on here, and if you see, I usually keep my head on a swivel. You always want to gather as much information as you can, looking for bird life, looking for chasers, feeding activity. I'll dig up another video in the future for this green room series where a trout does come up getting chased on the surface, and with a couple of accurate casts I'm actually able to convert a double digit in that scenario. So if you guys are always wondering, if you guys are watching this video and wondering why I'm always looking this way, that way, this way, and that way, it's really because from my saltwater fishing experiences, I've really ingrained it in my head to just stay vigilant and observant and look for any small cues that I can use to my advantage. A lot of these days where I'm trophy hunting, it takes one fish, one bite, one moment, one small clue that I observed that some guys might miss that makes all the difference. So, yep, just went through that motion there, threw that triple trout off deep off the ledge for nothing. So, pick up another bait. I'm not really sure what that was. I don't really remember. It looked like a soft bait of some kind. And firing from deep to shallow, working downhill in this scenario. And really, the biggest lesson to pick up from all of this is it's a constantly evolving game of evolving and adjusting to changes. And as Mr. Mark Higashi from Performance Tackle once eloquently put it, we're really asking these fish a question. Every time we tie a certain bait on, pick a certain color, choose a certain type of line to present it at a certain depth, etc., etc., those decisions that we're making, ultimately they're asking questions to the fish. Do you like this? Will this make you bite? So we're asking these fish questions all the time. Man, this takes me back. Like I said, this is a post-frontal day. This was an incredible day. I believe I had 4 or 5 bites. No, I had 5 or 6 bites on this day. On a day that I really wasn't even sure I wanted to fish. Just went through a couple days of heavy rain, big wind, and typically the best feeding windows and the best bite windows for a big bait with these big fish is preceding these incoming storms. But this just goes to show, man, like, you just never know. I was on such a roll. I just wanted to be out there fishing, and really, I think this is kind of just the beginning of my day. I didn't get out there until like 9 or 10 in the morning. And as you see here, I do catch a fish. But it really only took about 20 to 30 minutes of me asking a multitude of questions to these fish and trying a couple of different baits here and trying some different approaches, messing with the boat positioning, before I was able to ask the right question, and we got a big fish to commit. But a couple things you'll notice is, the sign of the times. This is actually Mark Higashi's Z21 21-foot Ranger that he still fishes out of today. If you guys ever shop at Performance Tackle, you've seen this boat in the back of the shop on occasion. And man, this boat was fishy. Caught a lot of big fish on this boat. I caught a bunch of big largemouth. Mark's caught some big stripers and largemouth. Just one of those boats that's got that it factor. An amazing platform. Old school Fortrex trolling motor, which at the time was top of the line. No such thing as spot lock. No iPilot. Like none of that stuff. No anchor lock. No side scan. I think I've got a black and white Lowrance up on that bow there that pretty much just read depth and water temp and the occasional fish mark. So it's funny to look back now and see all the different high-tech tools that I have on both those dream machines. But really, I'm appreciative of the fact that I came up in an age where all the creature comforts of today's technology wasn't at my disposal, so I actually had to put in the time and the work the old school way. And man, it's paid dividends, because if someone takes away my live scope, if someone takes away anchor lock, whatever, like, it's not going to stop me or somebody else with a similar background from continuing to piece the puzzle and figure out how to trick these big trophy fish that we all have such a passion to chase. So as you can see here, I'm still fan casting. I started on the bank and I'm slowly working my way out. Got the nose of the boat pointed right into the wind. That way I can maintain solid boat control. I actually took a lot of pride in my boat positioning and boat control, and still do. And that's why it's funny that there are guys that were, I mean, gosh, I don't know, like oblivious to the benefits and the advantage that spot lock technology posed and provided. You know, there's a reason why I actually ran an Altera trolling motor for the first 2 or 3 years on the Dream Machine, because this is preceding the Ultrex. And I was like, spot lock, oh, what's this? Oh, it'll automatically anchor the boat without having to do what you see me doing here. On it, easy peasy. Like, that was a no-brainer, and people would just look at me with the most confused look. Like, why are you using a walleye fishing? Why are you using a walleye fishing trolling motor? I'm like, a walleye trolling motor? Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's cool, man. And that's just, I make that point because I want you guys to continue to think for yourselves, man. Have a mind of your own. The information is out there. Do your research. Put in the work, man. Take a risk. Uh-oh. Just picked up the 9-footer. Now, this is a 9-foot custom rod built by Mark Higashi over there at Performance Tackle. It's got the down wrap guides. Benefits of a nice long rod like that is when you're fishing big stretches of open water, like a big flat or big break, or anywhere you want a long cast, it's hard to beat a long rod. Like, that's the deal. And you guys see me retying this 11-inch soft tool on here, and I had learned the hard way a couple times by fishing that very same bait really hard, and I was fishing 25-pound mono at the time, and I had just switched to 30 because I'd be fishing that bait all day long, catching multiple fish, bouncing multiple big fish, and I actually had a couple of failures, and really that was my own fault. I fatigued the line, and most importantly, I fatigued the knots to the point of failure, and really did myself a disservice. And check this out. Nice long pendulum cast. I could have followed through that cast a little bit better. But this is the first cast of the day with that 11-inch soft tool. Now, this is a pretty unique bait in that this is really just an oversized crankbait. And at the time, it wasn't very popular. People didn't really understand it. But once again, Raphael was one of those guys that showed me that it was a proven bait and that giant fish eat it. I know for sure he had caught a couple 13, 14 pounders on it, and bam,
on the soft tool.
Right there.
Yeah! Oh man, she drilled it.
That fish crushed it. Only got a few winds in.
Stay down, stay down, stay down. 30-pound maximum. Oh yeah.
As you heard there, I had just switched to 30-pound maximum, so like I was fishing rope and had the confidence to bounce this giant fish in the boat. And people often ask me why I do that.
How's that one for you? 11-inch baits get chomped.
And the fact that I'm holding a 10-pound 5-ounce bass is why. There are so many scenarios where I'm fumbling for the net, trying to solo net these fish, and only to lose those fish because now you're out of control. You got the rod tip super high, you're high sticking these giant fish with these heavy baits, and it makes them want to jump and then shake their heads and then throw this freaking 8 or 9 ounce bait. I don't remember what that thing weighs. And you know, a net, and honestly, a net is not always the perfect answer. I bounce these fish when I feel like that's my highest percentage of landing these hard to catch fish, and that's the bottom line. But anyway, if you guys are looking for more insight into my archives, subscribe to my new channel. That's where this Green Room series is gonna live. And if you want even further insight, I'm gonna be going on a deeper dive than even these green room videos for all my guys on Patreon. So I'll leave links to my YouTube channel and Patreon in the description below. In the meantime, man, appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are enjoying this new series, and I hope you guys are enjoying my new channel. Continue to support the Big Bass Streams channel. There will be plenty of me still on this channel, but really excited to feature all the rest of the members of the team this year. And make sure you please support them on their channels as well. Appreciate you guys. Leave a comment. What do you guys think about the Green Room series, episode 2? Have I just lost my mind trying to bounce a mega fish like that? Man, I'm almost afraid to show you guys the next sequence. We'll save that for another time. Until then, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the like button, turn on your notifications, and appreciate you guys. I'm out of here. Peace.
Some of the best yet. Some of the best yet. They bite like that, like that, like that. Big bass, double digits.
Pick up the fire right on top.
Low fall, blast off, time to get some cast off. Doing this here for years, get my bass on. Stream mask on, putting in work. Snap back, got me focused, never settle on a shirt. I missed one and hit one, man, that's getting some. 2, 3, 4, 5 more, come on, that's ripping up. The way the basement's sticking, the way my